Ah, chat. It's officially Pride Month. You know what that means, right, chat? You know what that means, right? It means we are exactly 1 month away from Gay Wrath Month, motherfuckers! Let's go! Become ungovernable! Hey, perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
But thank you so much for the raid grins. How are y'all doing? How was everybody's day? Hold on, we need glasses. We need glasses. There we go. There we go. Marin put something in the water, turning all the chatters gay. You're all gay this month. Every single one. Hi, Hardtech, way down there. Every single one of you. Good song. Every single one of you little shitters in chat is now gay. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. Woo, Pride, baby. Nah, listen. I'm in Texas. If I want to drive maybe to like Austin or Dallas, that's my best bet at like a Pride. I've never been to a Pride event. I just realized that. I usually realize that like every year, but I just realized that this year, and I'm always like, wait. I've never been. I have never been, not once. Hi, cool. All right, who wants highs? Who wants highs since we only had 2 streams last week, which I still feel really fucking bad for. I'm gaying it, I'm legit been acquiring my stage value in gay. Was already bi though. Listen, the half gay is still spicy gay. And I know some people don't like calling it like half gay, but it's still technically a kind of gay. If you like, if one of the sexes is the same sex, that's gay. It's not that complicated. Hi, Prey. Hi, Matt. Hi, Ordain. Hi, Melissa. But listen, I have no idea what the fuck we're doing this month. I have not set up anything special, mainly because of where I live and who I live with. So the best thing I have right now is still just like the 1K bit redeem where we get Cave Johnson. Everyone gets a % of the buy. Do some gay stuff. What gay stuff could we do? Is there... What's that one game that came out in the last couple of months that was like really, 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 really queer? What was that? I'm pretty sure it was like a horror game. Kind of a horror game. It came out, people played it for like 3 days and then it disappeared. It's really bright and colorful. Monopoly? What do you mean Monopoly? What food did you bring to secret gay party? Pizza. It's pizza spelled with bi. Hello there, hope you're all having a good day. Hi, Dreskin. Sorry, I was trying to read that off of the chat on screen as opposed to the Twitch chat literally right next to it. Don't live gay. Doing live gay? Is that what that is? Is that what that is? The pineapple on pizza? You've got a whole parade of gays online. Got you covered, Gene. Chat. We have some news. You're never gonna believe this. We have some news. It's time to hunker down. We'll wait for the parade to be over, but we gotta focus in. I want every one of you sitting front and center. I better either see a symbols or sit emotes. This is important. Shut the fuck up, Ordain. This is important. Every single one of you, front and fucking center. I don't see nearly enough of symbols or sit emotes. There's like 2. And Grins looks like he pissed on the floor. Oh wait, no, those are his feet. Oh. No, Ordain, sit down. This is important. I mean it. I mean it. Chat. Chat. Chat, it happened. It happened, chat. We have unlocked the partner application. The partner application is available, but I guarantee you we will be denied. We will be denied because I did the math. We only have 6 streams above the threshold. We need 8. We need 8 spread out through 2 months. So we're going to have to do this for another month. Do you understand? I'm denied. Going circular, do this application? No, we can't, because it'll be auto denied. I did the math already. It'll be denied. We have to go 1 more month, and every stream has to be above 75 average. Capiche, chat? Capiche? Do you comprende? All right. You know what you need to do, right? You know what every single one of you needs to do. You need to bash the homies over the head and have them at least lurking in the stream. Right? Right? Martin going circular? Dude, this not going circular. Why does that sound like something somebody would say in like Martin Mysteries? God, who remembers that show? Wasn't that made by the same people who made oh, what was it? We're actually gonna bring up, oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Actually gonna bring up the desk. There we go. Get those. Do not do botting. I swear to God, you will fuck us all if you bot. You will fuck every single one of us if you try to bot. Needs more lurkers, making it trending in skies of blue? Go ahead. Listen, Sunstar, you're the technological genius when it comes to Blue Sky. I'm sure you can rig something up for like free advertising. Be here after hours, watchers. We are no longer asking. That's true. I know a lot of y'all are out there watching the pod. If you come to the stream, we will have partner in less than a month. Gasp. Moira in the unrespected 2? Yes, unrespected 2. Kitty Queen, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Twitch mod hacks Blue Sky. That makes sense. I have my lifeless corpse. Your lifeless corpse. Am I talking to the ghost? What's the deal here? Come to Twitch mod watchers. Well, they're already on Twitch, technically. They are already on Twitch, technically. But, hopefully we won't have any more weeks like last week, because last week was, what do you call it? Was Memorial Day. And then we had like, shit, wait, what was Wednesday? I canceled Wednesday, didn't I? Or did we only have Wednesday? We only had Wednesday and Thursday, right? Fuck. I don't remember how last week went. I'm pretty sure we only had 2 streams last week. We're going to have at least one what? Oh, it's probably like, yeah, moving and getting settled is probably going to take at minimum a week. And that does not include shipping the PC. I should have the money to like speed ship the PC, so hopefully it'll be waiting for me there by the time I get there, so all I have to do is set it up. But we will see. I'm actually going to try to ship as many of like my peripherals, so like my audio interface, my stream deck, and like keyboard, mouse, all that jazz. I'm going to try to ship in my trunk, my footlocker that I have, so it'll basically be with me on the plane. But the monitors and the box itself, I will probably have to ship separately. We need to get the Marin Go box ready to ship. Marinin? Oh my God. Please disassemble the PC and ship the parts, at least the GPU. I would, but the PC came with the GPU installed, and I still have the foam. I still have the foam for it. It's the shaped foam, and I don't have a box or any way to ship the GPU separately. I would have to go get anti-static film and stuff, and then ship it that way. You can't do it with regular bubble wrap. You need to put it in an anti-static bag and then wrap it in bubble wrap. Merit airdrops? Me just fucking paratrooping in. Oh, speaking of which, hold on. Let's go grab the paratrooping song. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hi, Des. How are you doing? Shipping the pewters on the boat. Luckily, we're not taking a boat. It would be cool to take a boat. But unfortunately, if I took a boat, it probably would take like over 2 weeks. Probably over 2 weeks. Maybe something like that. All right. I'm doing pretty decent. I'm glad to be back. It is Monday. It is going to be our last day of Dishonored 2. If it hair lips the goddamn Pope, we are finishing it today. I don't care how long it takes. I'm pretty sure we're on the last mission. I'm pretty sure. But, oh shit. What the hell did I do? Oh, okay. I think I accidentally hit the down arrow key while I was clicked into OBS. That's my bad. That's my bad. Y'all just saw the filter page that it's using. But that's pretty much our biggest news. That is pretty much our biggest news. We are right up there ready for almost essentially on the cusp of partner, chat. The cusp of partner. In less than a month after the debut, we are already right fucking there. Right there, buddy. Just need some more streams. Just need some more streams at it. By the way, for Pride, could we buy everyone rainbow pinstripe suits? You know, Alphabet Mafia and all of that. You know what? You know what? Yes, we will get the goons. We will get the goons. The rainbow pinstripe suits. Understood. Understood. All right. What's a pizza pope game? A pizza pope game? What's a pizza? I don't understand. I don't understand. Wait. Huh? Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out like okay, so if y'all aren't on Twitter today, apparently quote the LGBTQ is trending. That's the word. Those are the words. They're not like, it's not an at, it's not anything. It's just the LGBTQ. And it looks like it's a bunch of homophobes being kind of pieces of shit and claiming that like gay people are mad that other people are getting attention. Literally the first two posts that come up are LGBT crowd is mad because Jamie, the 16-year-old streamer, is absolutely taking over the internet during Pride Month, which I'm pretty sure is the kid that blew up his bedroom with fireworks. I'm pretty sure he was. I'm pretty sure he was the 16-year-old that like blew up his room with fireworks and went viral last year. And this other person posted a picture of a sea hare and said the LGBTQ crowd is mad because the sledge is stealing their attention during Pride Month. Okay. I'm not here for attention. Who gives a well, I'm a streamer. I say that, but I'm like, guys, let's get partnered. Me wanting attention. I'm a hypocrite already. Let's hijack Twitch and make them put Marin on the front page. I am technically on the front page. I'm technically slotted for the what is it? The Together for Pride thing. It depends on like people's algorithms and stuff. But technically I was given permission to be on it. Let me see here. I don't think it'll actually show me if I'm already on it. But right now also looks like it's kind of like prime time. There's a lot of people on it. Yeah, there's a lot of people on here. That's probably why. I probably won't be on there for a little while longer because we've been live 20 minutes. Yeah, but we were slotted. I believe Together for Pride is actually going to be live for the whole year. I don't think it's just the month. I'm pretty sure it's for the whole year. But we were given permission for that a long while ago. Pride, almost every VTuber there is. There's a lot of VTubers on there that I don't recognize. And some of them are partners, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? You're on mine front page is because of the like followed up. Also, hi, Rin. Which internet did he take over? I don't know. But I like sea hares. I like sea hares. Chat. Somebody here posted, I wish I was joking. This is what they posted. Every single aspect of the LGBTQ plus movement is Jewish. That's anti-Semitism. That's anti-Semitism right there. That's fucked. Here, do you want to see the post? Do you want to see the post? Here, we'll move over. Let me see real quick. We will have to get the screen up. Let me get the screen for y'all. There's nothing bad with this in the case of, well, besides obvious homophobia and that shit. But let me do this. Where is it? Where is it? No, not display capture. Oh, it would help if I had actually toggled it on. Yeah, it's this person. Whoever the fuck this Amber is. Okay, but Jujitsu is kind of funny. Yeah, this was her post. Although looking at the name, I'm followed by John Cena. Why is her tag Maddie with a bunch of random shit? Generic banner. Horrifying profile picture. What does she post? She reposted a... That's not Russian, is it? That's Greek, I think. And there's slurs. And there's slurs. Oh. Oh, okay, yeah. I think we know what kind of person this lady is. I think we know what kind of person this lady is. Huh. Well. Yeah, I think we know what kind of account this is. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. But yeah, this was one of the things. Should I call the bonk? Nah, it's not going to do anything. It's Twitter. It's Twitter. But yeah, that was the weird post I found. That was very low on this list. But yeah, it seems like the reason that the legitimate are trending on Twitter right now as a phrase is because it's literally just straight homophobia. All right, back to the desk. Back to the desk. Shitty people keep getting shittier. That is absolutely correct. Chat, do we need to talk about a topic of the day? Do we need a topic of the day? Oh wow, all these like basketball and football teams posting their pride posts. Okay. Oh yeah, they're literally just picking random shit. All the more reason to leave Twitter. Twitter being Twitter, who knew? True, but it's also a larger platform than Blue Sky right now. I do post on both. I always make basically the same posts on both platforms. But it's also because like Blue Sky doesn't feel like I get like hardly any engagement on it. I mean, want a gun? I have many, they don't discriminate. I do not own a gun, but I would like one someday. Hopefully I'll be able to get one for like hunting and stuff once we're in Norway. Ugh. I don't give a shit about Ariana Grande. I don't give a shit about some fucking Beverly Hills Nepo baby. Huh? Oh, okay, yeah. I'm back on the post of people being like, the crowd is upset because something. It's all just random stuff. Ayo, Cuba Pride Parade? Hell yeah. Nice. Nice. 29 to 30 MLB teams have Pride Nights. Guess which team doesn't? MLB, Major League Basketball, or Major League Baseball? MLB is Major League Baseball, not basketball. It is true, it is Kai June. You are correct. Just after Mermay. Deck Blue is great for tags and single posts. Posts for hidden tags? Ah, okay. I mean, what a gun, which is where straight homophobia or gay homophobia? I think gay homophobia is funnier. That probably sounds weird, but it is because they're way more creative. Straight homophobia just says the same shit all the time. It's just the same shit every time. But let a gay man be homophobic and he's gonna fucking wreck you in the most creative way and flamboyant way possible. It's hilarious. Joking homophobia between gay people is fucking hilarious. Chat, you will never see the group chat of the Norway roommates, but we are so mean to each other. We are so mean to each other, but it's always like for the bit. We'll always be like, all right, permission to use a slur for the bit or some shit. And it's only ever in text, and it's only when everybody is okay with it. You need to be creative towards the gays. I use it to tag the plural version of tags without them showing the text itself, so it's a little messy. I don't care what you do or with the who, as long as it's with the consenting adult. True. I could do that, but toward my French friend. Nice. Nice. But no, it's also, it doesn't help that like two of us were like raised technically in this, we'll say South, like one's from Florida, I'm from Texas. But it's like one of those things that like I know where the line is, especially whenever I'm like streaming or hanging out with friends. I'm always like, I don't do the thing that like PewDiePie did, where it's like in rage, I'd say something. I always say it as like he who because it's funnier. It adds a certain energy to the bit. Happy Pride Month, everyone. You should be proud of you, and I am proud of you. Aw, Mungo. Ace, 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 ace. Oh, you know what I should have done? Hold on, sorry, I'm scratching my eyes while my eyes are closed. What I wish I did was make some kind of like, what is it? Like color change? Bye, Pride. But no. I forgot. Nor do I know if like the hair stripes up there, like way up there, I don't know if I can change just the color of those. Because I don't know if they're separate. You play Master Duel? I've played Master Duel before, Raytheon. What's that? Everybody says stupid this when they're angry. What do you mean everybody says stupid this? You mean, is that supposed to be stupid things? Was that just a misspell? I became a rat bastard? Oh yeah, I say rat bastard all the time. Made a deck composed of Yubel, Fiendsmith. Oh. I have not played in a long time, but I do know about the Yubel Fiendsmith synchronicity. I hate you. I don't know who Horus is. I don't know what Horus is. Is it another archetype or is it a specific monster? I don't know what Horus is off the top of my head. Here, I'll look it up. Oh, why am I in all caps? Yu-Gi-Oh! Horus. Okay, archetype debuted. Oh, it's not. Of course, it's a fucking Egyptian. Horus the Black Flame Dragon. 3 Fire Dragon level monsters. Soul of the Duelist, subtype of level, and Horus archetype. Okay. 4 Sons of Horus. Horus the Black Dragon, level 4, level 6, level 8. Oh, wait, no, I do know these. Why did I not think they were Horus? I thought they were something like Steel Eagle or something. Okay, that makes sense. Interesting. Is the bad sign that I heard Horus and thought the Lancer Company? Nah, not the worst. What do you mean? You don't want to fight Space Cthulhu? What's wrong with Space Cthulhu? When I hear Horus, I think 40k. Horus is dead. At the 40k, listen, that's fine. Anytime I hear Horus, I think Egyptian god. I think falcon-headed god. Because I'm a fucking nerd. It's fine. It's fine. Hello? Coco? I think Coco's in here. Yeah, I don't know if she just scratched the wall or if she just ripped one, but it definitely just sounded like somebody farted behind me. And it wasn't me. Like on the other side of the room. Are you down there? Oh, I can't see her. Her feet aren't sticking out if she's back there. Horus, bring your ass here! Horus never existed? Who's Horus? She's gone senile, chat. Horus, Egyptian god, or the dude whose soul was vaporized into the ether. Wasn't that Osiris? And then they couldn't find his Shmeat. One of like the 2 pieces they couldn't find was his Shmeat. Boris heresy? Oh, yes, Boris. You dare question Boris? Son of the Luna Wolves? Fulgrim wanted his Shmeat. Fulgrim wants half of the fucking, what do you call it? Half of the fucking, oh, I'm brain farting. Half of the Primarch's Shmeat. That's not new. Good answer, Baron. I won't call the Inquisition. Jesus. Drugs. To be fair, it was Lorgar's fault. Yeah, Lorgar deserves the beating. He does, in fact, deserve the beating, and Magnus did nothing wrong. I lied. Magnus did a lot of things wrong, but he did it for the right reasons. He just kind of flubbed it. I'm still looking around to see if there's anything interesting that's trending. For some reason, Moscow is trending. Chat, why do you think Moscow would be trending? Remy Shunji off. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. The way to hell is paved with good intentions. That's true. That's true. Tinder's height filter, a new frontier in dating preferences. Amazing. Iran trucker strike enters 11th day. Workers demand justice. Okay, now you have my curiosity. There's a labor movement for truckers in Iran? Okay, this I gotta know about. I'm sorry, chat. It's global news time. Fuck Erebus, also true. War? War never changes. No. Iran's truckers are doing what the rest of the world only tweets about, risking everything for change. The regime responds with threats, arrests, and good old-fashioned dictatorship. Be sure to keep negotiating like it's a misunderstanding. That's a video. They strike in silence. Their light breaks through. Truckers, farmers, industrial workers are defying dictatorship. They are jailed for filming their protests. This is a media blackout. Break it and cover Iran. Iran's exiled Shah and national leader, his Imperial Majesty Reza Shah II Pahlavi, urged in his latest message to POTUS wants a deal, but deals and diplomacy need an honest partner. The Islamic Republic isn't one. The people of Iran are. Okay. His Majesty Pahlavi Reza is calling on other Iranians to join the truckers' strike. Okay, here's a transcript translation. Let's see. Brave truck drivers of Iran, for 10 days you've raised your voice for justice through your strike and made it heard by everyone. You are the backbone of Iran's economy, but for years, all you've received in return has been inflation, debt, worn-out trucks, and repression. It's time for this injustice and oppression to end once and for all. It goes on for several more paragraphs, but... It covers the usual thing that, like, every labor force is typically fighting for, which is very interesting. Hit a bunch of Russian planes with drone bombs. Were those the one that they like made like fake storage containers for? Is that the one you're talking about? Didn't deserve the F-ring, but did eventually get a form of karmic revenge on Corfarin in the end. I still feel bad for Angron. But anyway. Okay, I was right. Those were the ones that they, like, disguise storage containers as. Hilarious. Hilarious. Abusing was a good. Ah, okay, I see. The weird thing is, he went pleading to the US for some reason. This, His Majesty, I suppose. I guess he's the previous king or something. Went pleading to the US. That is kind of the last person Iran would probably want to go running to, considering we kind of invade them under the pretense of nothing. Well, we did kind of invade them under the pretense of some things. It just didn't help that every single thing was a goddamn lie. None of this shit that we invaded Iran under, or Iraq, were fucking legitimate. None of them. Chat, do you know why the US invaded Iraq and Iran? I'll even give you a hint. After 9/11. Why did the US invade Iraq and Iran after 9/11? Listen, oil, you may be kind of right. But I'm wondering if any of y'all were alive at the time. Does anybody remember the news depictions of the Iraq War? Didn't invade Iran after 9/11? Iraq. And Afghanistan for a bit? No. Wasn't it Iraq? Hold on. Am I getting my years mixed up? I know we also invaded Afghanistan. That's the Second Gulf War. 2003 to 2011 was the Iraq War. Yeah, Afghanistan and Iraq. Which also kind of destabilized Iran because, you know... Here, hold on a second. Let me find it. The hell is this thing selecting? No, Iran was involved in the Iraq War. There's a whole section here on the tensions with Iran, and then hold on, there's so many more that's only 4 of the fucking 29 sections on Iran of nuclear weapon program, like the flavor in a LaCroix. Yes. That's pretty close, yeah. The US had essentially had doctored intel that Iran and Iraq essentially had nuclear weapons, which were generally false for the use of weapons. Yes, I believe it was Iraq. One of the earliest cyber attacks ever purported by the US government was a network bug that essentially kept sabotaging their uranium enrichment plants. But their goal was to build, was to build power plants, not build bombs. And the US still sabotaged it. Well, technically the CIA, but you get the idea. Did your name get longer? Rick! Suggestions of nuclear weapons war, like the flavor in a LaCroix? Yeah, that's about as solid as they were. They were as solid as the flavor of a LaCroix. And then not to mention that after 9/11, the US doctored evidence that Al-Qaeda was related to multiple Middle Eastern countries. Like they claimed that they were getting support from Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and used that pretense, which was never true. None of it was fucking true, to invade those countries. It's Pickle Rick, but without the pickle. That's what I was thinking. Pickle Rick. No, but now I must test the character limit of usernames in Twitch now. BRB. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Funny as shit, the image of Colin Powell waving around a fake chemical vial is probably permanently burned in my head. Oh, wait, I don't know that picture. Colin Powell vial picture. Oh, yep, there it is. Fuck, I know that name. Yeah, I've seen the second one of him like angrily talking into the microphone with like the United States plaque in front of him. That's the one that I've seen. Ugh. I can't believe that didn't like get us like kicked out of the fucking UN or anything. Sit-ups? Okay, hold on. What was the other thing that Ordain wanted me to do? Big A, do them squats? Okay, we'll do the squats first and then we'll do the sit-ups. NATO? All of it. All of it. We should have lost entire credibility at that point. Fucking, we should have been sanctioned for that shit, and we weren't. Probably only because we have, like, the power of veto at the UN. Granted, there's earlier things that probably would have had us fucking sanctioned. Proxy wars, all that nonsense. But hell yeah, day 11 of National Iranian Trucker Strike. Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, have you seen the US? Fuck them, they can't fight everyone. They can certainly try. Honestly, I almost want them to try just to get squashed. I want their hubris to bite them in the fucking ass. We've sanctioned for blowing one boat of Greenpeace. I fuck a whole country and you don't get sanctioned. They fucked multiple countries. If you want to listen to like, if you've listened to anything that like Republicans and like Trump have been saying about like with all the like crazy immigration policies that they've been releasing and just deporting people elsewhere, they refer to those people's countries as shithole countries. Do you know why they're supposedly shithole countries? Historically, do you know the reason that these countries have been destabilized and allowed various authoritarian regimes to take control and make it a steaming pile of hot shit? I can give you a hint. It has to do with 3 letters. Okay, let me do these squats. Oh yeah, it's 53rd world countries in a trench coat. But let me do this real quick. All right, we gotta do 20 squats and we gotta do 10 sit-ups. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, we'll do the setups in just a second. That was the same administration that had a president in his college years do coke, crashed a car, VP who got his friends while quail hunting, and had a woman who went to court because there was a public hair on the rim of her coke can. Ugh. Current great and powerful US president bends over the moment another world leader says anything. I think the funniest thing is, if we wanted to talk about it, I wish LP was here because LP would do a better job of talking about this, is visually and politically, Trump has seemed to be under like Putin's thumb. Actually, hold on. Let me do these sit-ups and then we'll talk about this. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on, I gotta scoot. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Okay. President Orange, President Taco. Now, Taco is too good of a title for him. Tacos are delicious. But the point I was making is seemingly and politically, Trump and Putin seem to be extremely aligned. Think of it as self-care. The mango Mussolini. But that's besides the point. Over his like first term and then into this one up until, we'll say like 2 months ago. We'll go with like 2 months ago. Love to call them mango Mussolini or nepotism Napoleon. Tacos are delicious and often very nutritious. That's because he's a racist. But no, the point I was trying to make is essentially what Putin may have flubbed it. Putin had a good leashed dog when it came to Trump in his first term. And then with his second term, what I'm guessing he did was didn't play it so smart and tried to like overflex his fingers with the leash. And Trump bit back. Because now they seem to not like get along. And he potentially seems to be off the leash and not kind of doing as suspiciously as much as what Putin wanted like he did in the first term. And on that, it's not Trump's fault. It's probably honestly Putin's fault. The manipulation cracked, I think, is what happened. And like, rather than like praising him, he probably tried to like overflex and force him to do something that didn't feed Trump's ego. And I think he flubbed it. I think he flubbed it a little bit, but doesn't mean to say that he's still technically not doing what Moscow wants. But it's definitely interesting. By big tech handlers. Didn't Musk get kicked out of the like administration like last week or the week before? Heart monitor. Why do you want heart monitor? Why do you want heart monitor? What's the deal? Wasn't it 2 weeks ago? It may have been 2 weeks ago. I thought it was like last week though. But two narcissistic psychopaths fluffing each other's egos and ambition long enough until they get into an argument over whose tiny pee-pee was bigger. Yeah, pretty much, honestly. I feel that Theo is still skulking about. Theo was still technically a part of Have a Cookie. Hi, Melissa. Do you want the heart rate monitor? Is that you really want the heart rate monitor? Hi, Haitian. How are you doing? Let me see. I was looking to see if Melissa said anything after hitting that, but I don't see her saying anything besides just hitting you with the cookie. Moscow agent governing America. Amazing. Younger blood to take the wheel and not some 80-year-old. Yeah, we need less octogenarians. Probably arguing about how nanometers sound better than partial millimeters. Oh, Peter Thiel, gotcha. No, that's not fair because Chibi's better at sneaking than Elon Musk. Doing decent. Can't wait for the workday to be over. Hell yeah. Yes, Fairbanks. Cookie. You said something a second ago. Hold on, I missed it. Oh yeah, okay, that was the, never mind. It was the mango Mussolini thing. I did read that. But let me see, is there anything? Weapon X? Weapon X? Okay, never mind. This is it's just Marvel Rivals. It's Wolverine's Weapon X skin for Marvel Rivals. What the fuck? Okay. Very interesting. I got some boar. Listen, don't let Tree Kicker Boar hear you say that. Alistair? I've been around longer than Alistair. How dare you? How dare you? I'm cooler than Alistair. And I have more content. just sheer number of hours. But hi, Gauze. How are you doing? Did myself? Ooh, that's actually pretty cool. Plush, thank you for renewing your season pass. What are we at right now? We're probably below. Oh, we're at 211. We got 39 if y'all want me to play Hello Kitty Island Adventure again. We're making Wolverine. No, it's just skin. It's just people excited for the skin. Don't worry about it. It's just people excited for the new skin with like the new season coming out later. Uno reverse card? Huh? What is... Oh, okay. He's being racist. He's going around to other countries wearing like full ceremonial like Scottish garb and playing the bagpipes. Granted, I think he's in India in this one. Y'all want to see a ginger kid look like an idiot on the street? Missed input with the redeem? Which redeem? Oh. Because that... Oh. Than Alistair anyway? I'm cooler than Alistair. As much as I like Alistair, he's probably my favorite character in Has Been Hotel. And he has some of the best song parts. His songs are fucking great, dude. If I wanted to do that, I'd go outside. I forget. Are you ginger? You have red hair? Carrie's a ginger and eats an elephant a day.
Making the mother of all omelets here, gang. Can't bread over every egg.
We need something else. Okay, let me see. Nah, this is all random nonsense. No. No. Aspen Gold is now streaming on Kick. He says he's going to be multi-streaming to Twitch and Kick, which I think is allowed on Kick, but I don't think that's allowed. Well, maybe it's allowed on Twitch. I don't know. Okay, hold on. I got to show you this. Okay, hold on. Where is it? I need screenshots. And then I'm going to have to move over. I need y'all to look at... Because this is the post that Kick made for him. And then just look at this... Somebody immediately re-fucking drew it. It's a fucking cockroach. It's the same picture. It's the same picture. Where's Meat Canyon when you need him? I think it's only a matter of time until we probably... Has Abs and Gold ever been in a Meat Canyon video? If he hasn't, I'd be surprised. Fucking Tectone. I hate Tectone, but this is objectively funny. Huge day for the unemployed. Christ. Christ. But yeah, I hate Tectone. That's all. I just wanted to show you all that because that was funny. Because that was funny as fuck. All right. Out of Baby No's recent music video. Wait, he was in it? I don't know. I don't know any of Baby No Money's songs. The whole group is a circus of clowns. Derogatory? Correct. Correct. But... Wait, okay. Has anybody seen the new live action Lilo and Stitch? Okay, I keep seeing posts, people talking about like Nani would never, or like anything like that. Does something happen in the live action movie that like doesn't happen in the animated one? Does she give up Lilo? Does she give up Lilo? There's no live action Lilo and Stitch. There's no live action Lilo and Stitch. Hmm? Oh, okay. Okay, it's somebody. I just found a video that I thought was cute. It looks like it's a lady and her like assistant cook that run like a soul food truck, and they're doing an interview with the owner. And the assistant is still like working away in the back, chopping food and getting shit ready. And she's talking about her, and she's like, because she's like a scrawny white girl in a beanie. And she's like, nobody ever trusts the white girl in the soul food truck, but this white girl can cook. Oh my God, Wolfsky, thank you for the bits. Just making their movie at this point. I mean, what was I saw The Lion King. Did I see that in theaters? Maybe I saw it in theaters. I don't remember if I saw it in theaters or if I saw it separately, but I know I've seen it. And I think they stayed pretty faithful. Pretty faithful. It felt, for a good part, it felt almost like a scene for scene remake, just done in CGI. They turned Bubbles into two separate characters. What? Wait, what do you mean they turned Bubbles into two separate characters? Oh, I also heard they didn't include, what's his name, Gantu? I heard he wasn't in there. Then what's the fucking point? If Gantu isn't in the movie, what's the point? Jumba stays evil. That's an entirely different movie. Okay, what about the one-eyed assistant? I forget what his name is. The really whiny one-eyed assistant. Social worker and CIA are two separate people? Wasn't it like that before? The Slay Queen? Yes, the Slay Queen. What do you mean he ain't a cross-dresser anymore? That's an entirely different movie! Aw. Okay, Pleakley's gone? Salvi Ohana means family scene. Nani basically told Lilo to get realistic. Huh? That feels like... What? Has Disney given up on its, like, falsely idealistic movies? Are we no longer family friendly? Is now Disney just about being realistic? What are they gonna do next? Make sure Tiana stays in poverty instead of being able to buy her restaurants? Look at how they've massacred my boy. Gritty Disney. It's not how it works in the real world? Hawaiian colonizer propaganda? I would not doubt that. But that's also fucking insane. That shit is insane. Absolutely batshit. What the fuck? Okay, yeah. Yep, I hate that. Hate all that. Hate whatever that is. Princess and the Frog, there are no frogs. The frogs are extinct. The bayou is dying. We should just watch the OG movie again. You should. You should just watch the OG movie again. Chat, how many of y'all have seen the original Lilo and Stitch? I did not get called Pleakley as a child when I had a bob for Disney to take it away now. Oh my god, y'all are going nuts. Oprah doesn't have a role in it? Oprah? Also, they made Nani choose to go to San Diego to study instead of staying in fucking Hawaii, home of the greatest marine biology college. What? Do you mean the spin-off cartoon as in the original cartoon, or do you mean the spin-off that was in Japan where Lilo literally abandoned Stitch? Which is also insane. Original? This is really, really likes Lilo and Stitch. I had to watch the OG. It's okay. I watched the OG as a kid too. I even played the like Disney like sandwich stacker game for the yellow Stitch creature. I forget what his number was. But the yellow one that had all the same powers as Stitch, but just like making sandwiches instead. 625, yeah. Ruben, yeah. From experience, the only marine wildlife in San Diego is some seals and sometimes a dolphin. They also have one of the largest aquariums in the US, if I remember correctly. It's not Monterey Bay, is it? Am I misremembering? San Diego. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where Monterey Bay is. No. I'm way off. Let me see. San Diego. Birch Aquarium. No, that doesn't seem right. For some reason, I thought I'm pretty sure there's a major aquarium and like conservation location in California. He's just a guy. He is just a guy. The spin-off cartoon that had crossovers with Recess, American Dragon, Jake Long, and Kim Possible. I have no idea what you're talking about. But I've been to the Atlanta Aquarium. I still think the biggest aquarium I've been to thus far is still the Chattanooga State Aquarium. I have been to the Chicago Aquarium. I don't remember if it was bigger, though. Oh, yeah, the Atlanta Aquarium is awesome. But I do recommend the Chattanooga, Tennessee State Aquarium. If anybody's ever in Tennessee or near it, it's a worthwhile aquarium to go to. It's like right on the river. There's like cool ice cream parlors and restaurants around to go to. And it's basically an all-day experience because there's 2 towers at the Chattanooga Aquarium. One is entirely freshwater and one is entirely saltwater. And I think it's at the top of the saltwater one, I'm pretty sure, is a butterfly conservatory. There's like a whole garden and stuff up there, and you can go check out butterflies and see like their chrysalis and stuff. It's very cool. It's very fun. I hate that I've been to SeaWorld as a kid. Listen, you hate that you've just visited SeaWorld. I went to SeaWorld summer camp for 3 years, at least. 3 years at least. Which is basically, it was basically like a week or 2 weeks of like going to SeaWorld, learning about the animals and just kind of like wandering around the amusement park and stuff. It was very fun. And then we'd have a sleepover. We'd have a sleepover where we'd spend the night in the park. We'd sleep in the penguin exhibit. We would sleep in the penguin exhibit. Not in the penguin exhibit, but like in front of the penguin exhibit because it was indoors. I've only been to 3 aquariums / zoos. Ordain. That's so few. That's so few, Ordain. Are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? Penguin. There's something creepy about SeaWorld at night, though, chat. I'm not going to lie. When SeaWorld... This was SeaWorld San Antonio. when SeaWorld San Antonio was empty at night at like midnight, and we'd be standing like out front of the Penguin Place, and you could just look basically all the way down in like multiple directions down long walkways, and it was just ominous. Mods are cute. Mods are cute. All right, chat. Ad break's gonna come up any second. I'm just gonna move over. I don't think I'm gonna go anywhere. And let me get words on stream ready for y'all. I keep forgetting to fucking look for other stream games. Damn it. I keep doing this to myself. I keep fucking forgetting. Oh, goodness. Okay. We'll go ahead and start this. The largest aquarium throws chat into the ocean. Swim, bitch. Wait. Earn the number 007 First Light, a new game by Ion Interactive? IO Interactive. IOE? How the fuck do you say this? IO Interactive. Okay, IO Interactive. Stay tuned for more information. So Casino Royale again? Amazing. Not Remy Malik. I can't swim. Every single one of you should learn how to swim. If you don't know how to swim, you need to start learning now. Right now. That is a crucial skill. You should all know how to swim. I say this as somebody who used to be a manager for a water park. I was always shocked by how many people would come to the water park and didn't know how to swim. I know how to swim, like I've done with that as a sport for 3 years. Just haven't swam in a few years. Literally a collegiate swimmer. Hell yeah, Dino. Hell yeah. Do it or fish crimes? I can swim but can't float? That theoretically, well, not even theoretically, that shouldn't be physically possible. Do you panic when you try to float? But say that doesn't sound right. What song is this? Also, I'm good at walking underwater. Walking underwater. Roderick, are you admitting that you've sink like a stone? Is that what this is? Is that what you're admitting? I haven't swam in close to 20 years. You need to go swimming. You need to go swimming. Today. If there's a pool noodle, I can swim assisted. You need to be able to swim unassisted. Unassisted. Is the Feemsh today? Feemsh is on. Feemsh is open. Oh, I never reset it. Hold on a second. We need to check it. Sunstar already going away. It's the second. I forgot to reset it. All right, let me check the leaderboard. And it's Sunstar. Sunstar is the winner again with nearly 8K points. The next one is Ordained with just short of 2K. Are you proud of yourself? Boo! Y'all should swim at least once a year, chat. All right, we've only got 30 seconds left, so I'm going to go ahead and tuck this away. We'll go to full chat. Boo! Boo! It's fine. Hold on. Let me remember to start new leaderboard. Save and close. All right, new leaderboard's up. Is anybody ever going to beat Sunstar? Ever? No. Okay, chat. We've had enough time, but Baron didn't restart it. Wait, restart what? We need more firsts on the leaderboard? Okay. Chat, I will make a promise to you. If Sunstar is the winner again this month, I will make it the second person. The second person will get the VIP. Sunstar has been just gatekeeping this VIP for like, what? How long has it been, Sunstar? Over 6 months? Over 6 months? Hmm. Uh... Okay. I was close compared to Sunstar. True, you were the next person. But we're doing it this month. Vote ordained for VIP today. All right, y'all are gonna have to mob me to convince me. You're gonna have to mob me to convince me. Also, hi on Gabo. But... Okay. I was looking to see if there was anything new. Oh, okay. A big VTuber's Discord server got hacked and taken over. Okay. Chat, do we want to go ahead and get into Dishonored 2? Again, it happens. It happens. Wait, somebody's calling orangutans the opposite of chimps? I'd hate to tell you. They are quite literally related. They're the opposite of chimps. I'd hate to tell you, the opposite of chimps is probably a fish. Ginger monkey. Ginger monkey. Ginger gorilla. Battle Bonobo has something to say about that? Yeah, the Battle Bonobo. I already took his gun, so it's fine. It's fine. I already took his gun. No. But... Manga, He can get more guns. I'll keep taking them. I will keep taking them. I will specifically keep doing it to bully him. Because I have his other gun, I can find him. I can always find him. Can't hide from me anymore, Battle Bonobo. I'll keep taking your guns as long as it takes. I'm gonna come back and just my heirloom box is just gonna be full of fucking like various like deagles and handguns and shit. Where did you get all these, monkey? Monkey. Look at what I found. You're not allowed to have guns, Redeemed. They don't work in your hands. Too much magic. That's why you're condemned to only have Wait a second. Buffet. Fucking great. The B in LGBTQ stands for buffet. Gun explodes because of magic overload. Listen, it just doesn't fire. It's more like it kind of, it doesn't really explode, more like kind of like falls apart. Monkeys together strong. All right. Yeah, I'm not really finding any. Is that Cottontail fucking flossing? Hate that. Hate that. Okay, then. Let me see here. All right. All right, chat. Before we jump into the game, which I'm going to be working on before we get into the before I change the category and shit. I'm sorry, I saw a piece of art. I keep getting distracted. I did this to myself. Marion's going to game for the 1.5 hour mark. We need to finish the game. I promised we were going to finish the game. But we're also on like, if this is, I don't remember how many levels there are, honestly. I'm pretty sure we're on the last level. Because we just showed up to like Caldwell Tower. But my problem is I have no idea what the non-lethal way is. No clue. Haven't got a single idea. Okay. Jesus. Sorry, I saw an Emma Frost art. It's my own fault. I got distracted. All right, let me get the game up and running, and hopefully nobody freak out when like it starts fucking up all of the resolutions. So have 9 levels each. I have no idea what number level we're on. All right, nobody move. Game's opening. No, I saw but, please and thank you. We're gonna have to wait for the game to open, and then I'm gonna have to fix the resolution in a second. I honestly have no idea what it looks like on stream if it like fucks up all of my overlays. Or like the resolution and stuff, because like right now, fucking VTS Studio, or Redundancy Department, Department of Redundancy Department, apparently, VTS is like half on one monitor and half on the other. Oh my god, it's taking forever to load. Anyway, water time. All right, chat. The thing I was going to talk about while we're waiting for this to open was the house fund. We are still working to raise money for the house fund. We've already hit the 50%, which means every $10 will get you a spin on the Wheel of Punishment instead of having to spend like the 10k points, which usually takes like a few streams to get. We could also consider talking maybe tomorrow about adding more stuff to the Wheel of Punishment permanently, because we haven't had a whole lot of donations in the past like 2 weeks. I think we started this. Okay, hold on. I'm going to change the resolution. That's 1920 by 1080. Please and thank you. Wait for everything to freak the fuck out. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Okay, there we go. Change it to borderless full screen. And then put it on the other fucking monitor. Okay, now I can see you. Now I can see you, chat. Resolution sounds like a problem. It doesn't do anything on the stream. Okay, good. Good. I'm glad it doesn't do that. Does Emma's spine actually look like a table, or just you just want us to think that? Huh? Spin the wheel, contribute to new goals, and move Marin around the globe so we have new views for the card windows. We'll also be able to stream a lot longer if you do that, guys. We will be able to go back to 5 streams a week. We will be able to have streams on the weekend again, and we will be able to go longer. I am literally limited here because I need to stop stream before people get home. Oh, what the hell? Okay, hold on. Gosh darn it, that's fine. All right, let me go ahead and set the full screen capture up. There it is, Void Engine, that's what it's called. And then let me go change the category. Dishonored 2. Let me also add a little thing because I'm curious real quick. I want to test something. Oh, that's not right. Okay. Oakley dokley. And then we can swing right on over. Hi, chat. Oh, but good song, good song. Hold on, I need to bully somebody real quick. Okay. Somebody send me a meme and I have to go bully them because they're very bullyable. All right, thank you, Disturbed. Time to go back in the background, pretty please, and thank you. Also, my chest hurts a little bit, but I'm sure that's fine. Where is... Maybe it's because I'm not... Okay, okay, it's working fine. It looks a little loud on stream, but we'll see what it is whenever we get into the game. The VOD channel can have so much content? True. True. Okay, it looks like we just saved just before we got on the skiff, so... Hold on. I want to go check something really quick. I want to go see if... Oh, whoops. If there's anything else hiding around. It feels a little laggy, too, for some reason. Is motion blur still on? Hold on. No visuals. Quality settings. No. Okay, hold on. Okay. I hit the wrong button. I want to go see if I can find another mana potion. Because we are behind on mana potions. I only have half mana right now. Okay, I've already done that. I still don't know how we're supposed to get the like other decorations here because we only got like 2 of these things. Apparently you can fill up this display case. But I wonder how you do it. Lagging again, why? Rats. Hello. Hi, Zyber. All right. Also, guys, those of you who are new, who have not been here, for any of the gameplay of Dishonored, we're currently doing a non-lethal ghost run. So not only are we trying to avoid killing people, but we also can't be spotted by people. So, you know, as you do. Where is, what's his name? Nom. Nom. Nom nom. Nom. Nom nom. Nom nom nom. Anyway. Where is the other guy? The miner guy? Here, we can take the glasses off too. High Chaos Corvo run? Listen, it's fun. Really? Really? There was one of the fucking master recipes here? Oh, I'm so upset. I'm so fucking upset about that. God damn it. Okay, you know what I could have done? Could have done this. Because this will tell me, actually, I think I do need to listen to this. Because I know there's an achievement for listening to all of the audio logs on the ship. I think we've heard this one.
Thrown against the malevolent ocean and large enough to heave the great leviathans aboard, thrashing and spilling their life.
Where was it here? No, this was her room that we broke into and took all her shit. Where's the... Was it the scientist? I'm back here.
Old men like me. I've been abandoned by my own creations. But maybe that's the way it should be. Haven't I been cruel, selfish, perhaps?
Did the stuff like move around? I'm misremembering. Is it here? That's our room. So then it should be here. Oh, she's gone. Oh, they probably stayed back in Karnaka. Duh. Of course they fucking stayed in Karnaka. Why am I crouching? Okay. Time to go. Time to move. Yeah. All right, Dunwall Streets. Here we go.
Could see me now.
Hi, Kayakima. Welcome in. How are you doing? Gluten. What about gluten? Why do we have gluten? Gluten makes the world go round, baby. Is it just me? Am I the one driving this thing? That looks like a cruiser out there, and this is another whaling ship. Why are they sinking the whaling ships in the bay?
Take me to the Dunwall Tower. Bring me back to the cage in my own chest.
Oh, I will. Delilah will be made mortal again.
You let your mother slip into oblivion. Do you know
Let?
where my mother's resting? In a child's coffin, her skinny legs tucked beneath her, because I couldn't afford proper burial, while my father rests in the Imperial crypt.
You're lying.
You still can't accept it, little girl. Your father was born a nobody. I inhabit your mother's heart, and my body walks the halls of your crumbling palace and sleeps between your sheets.
I don't know. Something tells me she doesn't sleep.
In Karnaka.
I have a feeling like she doesn't sleep.
Give anyone the right to rule.
Listen, how many times can I bring this GIF up in a Dishonored game? Right up next to where it looks like a homeless person is cooking dinner. All right, now where are my skewered rats to eat? No rats. I'm being robbed here. I'm being robbed here. Okay, hold on. Backbone charm. All right, go ahead and mark that one. Hello? Dogs? But... what the fuck is that aura? Did y'all notice that? Why was it like all orange? There's no guards here anymore. Dang, I don't remember this. I don't remember it being this quiet. Is this what it's like on the like low chaos end? Okay, hold on. Okay. This was a... there she goes.
I don't know how long, Done.
Uh-oh. Sorry. Okay. Wait, is this the black... this is the black market, isn't it?
Hard times in Dunwall, with the new Empress and her crew taking over.
Okay. Collector's Carapace, you were less visible in welded areas. Ooh. Okay. Well, I'm kind of upset we missed the opportunity for that one a long time ago.
Blueprints for better weaponry.
Oh, right. Which tab? Where is it? There it is. How much money do we have? 2,600? We got plenty, baby. We got plenty. Okay. I think those were the only things. Sadly, nothing else. We still haven't gotten the fucking blueprint for sleep darts. We probably completely missed it at this point. Okay. And then we want...
Glad we could do business.
that. Give me
I'll
that.
take that deal.
Key to the City Watch Armory. Give me that. And then we're actually doing really well on that other equipment. There we go. Okay.
Watch your ass out there.
I'm doing my best, okay? Okay. Hello? Did those dogs just keep walking? I think they did. Although, I still feel like I'm lagging. Hold on a second. Visuals. Quality. Should I do that? Turn you off. Fuck it. Okay.
After sparrows 3 times call, after gold dust 3 times fall, come, maiden, mistress, mouse and hen, come, fisher, farmer, frog and wren. Once a king.
Hi, Bazans. I haven't heard this song in this game. I don't like these taking some knives. No, those are mine. For lethal kills, as far as I know. Nah, it's no big deal. I don't like that. Okay, we're gonna go for that first. I'm also gonna do a quick save. Also, wait a second. Okay, maybe this isn't the same. It's an underground section. The interesting with this is it's very different from when I... Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Whew! Okay, hold on. I also hear... Oh, hi!
It's here. I can smell money. Check behind the paintings.
There's a lot of shit in there. Okay, hold on. Hi, ma'am.
That we walk out empty-handed. That's gonna piss
Let's
me
go ahead and do another quick save really quick, and then we'll just... I wasn't ready for that level of fucking crumple. Jesus. It seems like there's only one person in here. Hi. Okay. Dead? She's not dead. It's fine. It's fine. Last entry in a sailor's diary. Born in Dunwall, thought I'd die here too, but I just got to find a new home. It ain't one way or the other to me who runs the empire. I horned from way back, his granddaughter, Lady Emily. This new Delilah, whoever, none of them could be like Jessamine. She's really had something special. Anyway, I'd say, but Dunwall's gone to junk and there ain't nothing here for an old sailor. I gotta get killed in the street just for buying an ale, that's what. I got one regret that's I'll never see my secret room again. Been working on it since I was a young man, my shrine. Lucky little tidbits I found here and there. My whalebone carving's quite a collection, but I can't bring a whole room with me now, can I? Anyway, I ain't so old that I can't start a new shrine wherever I wash up. Maybe Tibia. Say, I saw all the shit that was in that is a lot of fucking. Anywho, that's. Gimme. They're taking away your secret rooms? Your secret rooms are mine! They were never secret to begin with, you fools.
Welcome home, Your Majesty. Delilah's waiting for you. She's been sleeping badly for the last couple of weeks. Because that piece of her you are carrying around has been calling out, begging her to take it back.
Ordain, what you doing?
She feels the same craving, but she'll fight to the death.
My favorite video game, Twink.
From putting her spirit back where it belongs.
Ow, I just scratched the shit out of my chin. What the fuck?
In Karnaca.
I tried to pick it up because I was going to put it in front, crumpled like paper. Thank you for clipping that, Queens.
She's got your father.
The funny thing too was there was the in-game sound because for some reason sound travels when you're scoped in. Okay. Okay, we got 7 runes. So, let's see. Was there anything that we didn't level up? Oh, didn't we have possession? Where was possession? Or we considered getting possession? This one. Oof. Oof. Oh wait, that's actually kind of cool. Corpse possession's cool. I never knew that was the thing in here. La 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 la. I don't think there's anything else that's useful in a ghost run, in a non-lethal ghost run. Ooh, extra regeneration does matter too much to me. But enemies killed in combat disintegrate to a cloud of bloodflies that'll attack nearby enemies. I remember getting this once and absolutely hating it. Like, the bloodfly swarm is terrible. Necrophilia route unlocked? No. The thing was, is too, like, a lot of, like, this is fucking, like, inadvertent combat. Same thing with, like, some of, like, the sword skills and stuff you get. I have never played this game where, like, inadvertent combat happens frequently enough to warrant it. Mesmerize. Can see the summit entity. Allies of those enthralled will notice their strange behavior and suspect a hostile presence in the area. Okay, hold on. Slow time of aiming a ranged weapon. Deflect projectiles towards the nearest enemy. Adapt parry. Snap reaction. Ooh. You know what? Fuck it. Let's at least get snap reaction, just in case. And then... whatever. Nothing else. I don't know if there's anything else in here. She's taking a nap. Was that me? That like rubbery sound? Dog down there. Okay. Let's quickly do another quick save. Nope, don't like that. Also, wait a second. Wasn't there another... Okay, there it is. That was actually not the right port I wanted, but it's funny that it worked. Okay, yeah, this is where we came down. Which means... I'm pretty sure... Why can't I double jump? Why wasn't it letting me double jump? This should take us. Yep. All right, hold on real quick. It doesn't seem like there's anyone in here. Although someone has definitely been here. Is that a witch? Is she dead in front of the door? Okay, hold on. She definitely looks dead. Oh! Okay. She's dead. Put that down. Block the secret passage. I went to the back part of the tower, blocked off in case anyone else knew about the former Empress's secret exit. Work all night if you have to. And a butler down here or something? Okay. I was looking to see, because I could have swore there was like windows nearby that we were able to like sneak out of. But I wonder. There has to be a way. But why is there a butler and a witch here? I'm missing something. What am I missing? Ah. That's where you were. Okay, Fleet Fighter. What do you do? Fleet Fighter. Not slowed when your weapons are unsheathed. Okay, hold on. Give me that. We don't need to be carrying no dead bodies around here. Okay, so I guess we do actually have to enter via elsewhere. Darn. That kind of blows, but okay. Seems like we have to go in the front door. That sucks. That didn't sound good. Take that. Was that really the only witch? What the fuck? I looked at OBS. Did y'all see that? Was there spaghetti code there for a second? See if there's another scream. Sacrifice. Sacrifice. Whoa. Oh! Oh, I'm like glitching. Okay. Okay. I'm sure this will be fine. Someone's having a bad time. Multiple people are apparently having a bad time. What the fuck? Hi, guys. There's another guy in there. Okay, hold on. That guy has a vision radius. It makes me think that he's still alive. You okay?
I saw the High Overseer fall. All is lost. Leave this place.
The Abbey assaulted the tower?
Somehow we were overcome. Not just Delilah's sorcerers and their gravehounds, but mechanical men. Automated soldiers.
Hey, wait, I wonder if this is part of the non-lethal route.
Useless against them.
Rest now. But know that I'm going to end Delilah's reign. I swear it.
At death's door, I smell the corruption of the void upon you. A heretic against a heretic. Laughable. The world is doomed.
He has something sitting next to him, too, so we're gonna read that. Mission orders. Brother Fitz, I bid your courage in your expedition to the heart of the corruption, the once shining Dunwall Tower. Know that beyond Delilah's occult heresy, she is full of guile. Be wary, storm the tower, and protect High Overseer Kalan with your life, for he will lead us back to the righteous path. But there was another thing. For years, rumors have circulated regarding the Royal Protector. If victory is secured and you manage to find yourself in the quarters alone, we want you to search for signs of blasphemy. Report back, but only to me. All my years I dedicated to the Abbey and the Oracular Order. Sister Roswin. Roswin? Rogues? Rogues? Okay, what about you, buddy? Nope, you're dead. Dead as can be. Okay. Christ. Ah! Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, there's gotta be... I'm missing something. Maybe it's back this way? Maybe we'll find the location to use. Canisters for some reason. Ah, I see. Also, yoink, yoink. So, give me this. Give me this. Give me that. Why don't I remember any of this? It hasn't been that long since we played this game. Okay. It definitely gets a lot brighter around here. Y'all are all dead too. Heck. Why don't I remember this? What was the approach like when you do this game in high chaos? Maybe I just... Ooh, okay, what are you?
As six hands blend, make the pigments block the wind. Fingers stained blue and blush, conjure rainbows for her brush.
Ammonia drowns precious copper. Cyan leads to dreams improper.
Four hands sift and four hands blend, make the pigments block the wind. Fingers stained blue and blush, conjure rainbows for her brush.
Coal tar dye, pig's placenta, grind and wash, rich magenta.
Two hands sift and two...
Nap time! Alright, how many people do you think died out of those 4? None. None. We're still good. Nailed it. Nailed it, baby. You know what? Gimme. Whirlwind. I'm pretty sure I've gotten this one before, and I'm almost certain that it is just, yeah, sword attacks. Sword attacks are faster. Okay. Up, up. Seems to be the only other thing on the map. Okay. I don't think I'm gonna bother putting them to... Oh, hi! Did not realize you were there. Hold on a second. It seems to just be you. So just to be sure... Hi, Bard!
How many days?
Guess what? Chuckle fuck. Uh-oh. There we go. Whew. So... Okay, I think I have an idea. She's dead, nothing to worry about there. Here, here, and then... Let's do it this way. Oh wow, they drained the moat. I remember in the first game, us like falling into the moat a whole bunch. But that, I wonder... Because this is the same section that we came in... Oh, we have to go do it. Y'all heard that, right? Right? I wasn't the only one that heard that. Right? Okay. I think that was... You're terrible. I see that in the chat window. You better TT changing to the... It's fine.
The algae's all dried out, but that makes it easier to collect. Less messy. You can still smell it.
Here, I want to get this right.
How much of the algae does Our Lady Delilah want? And what's it for? Tell me. I won't let the secret slip.
She just needs a bit, and if you promise to keep your tongue in your head, I'll tell you. It's part of her new undertaking.
Oh.
Painting to end all paintings, she says. Some great...
Hold on, I think I get more information if I listen to this conversation.
What more could our mistress want?
Delilah wants the whole world's love. The seas around it and the stars above it.
Okay, but why? The algae is on the paintings? Yeah. That all? Okay. Good talk. Oh shit, wait a second. remember this being a hassle. I see it's down there. But don't remember how to get under there. Oh. Nope. Okay. Just a stray cabinet to open. Is all it takes to take over the world? God forbid a woman has hobbies. Listen, it's fine. It's fine. She's totally not batshit insane. But that fucking ruin, dude. Came all the way over here to get this ruin. And now I don't actually remember how to get it. There's something back there. I wonder. Hold on. Okay, I don't trust that. I also don't trust that, but dare I chat? Dare I? I don't think there's a way. I'm pretty sure this is just a fall to my death, regardless. Suck the algae off the wall like a fish. I don't want the algae. I want the fucking ruin. Ooh. Ooh. Is there... Or just fall down here. I'm blind! Sewer and pump room inspection. Oh. I didn't get the word from anyone. Not sure if I'm supposed to continue working as usual. Removed a dead hound stuck in gate 14D. Doesn't feel safe outside. I'll just hide here for a while. Found myself a good spot near the pump room. Two of the strange women who came to live in the tower with the new Empress. They were collecting moss and algae from the walls. Stayed maybe an hour. Scraping and chanting. I wonder what it's for, but they're cleaning the sewers. That doesn't make any sense. And do they know I still work here? Does anyone? Interesting. Okay. But I knew it was gonna be like a fucking small little nook or something that I was missing. But there's something else we have to do. Chat. Get up here first. And there's an achievement I want. And that is... Okay, let's see. Hold on real quick. So over here, theoretically, I'm only guessing, is Emily's mom's grave. And we can come here and inspect it and get an achievement.
I wish we could talk just one more time.
Okay. Here we go. Achievement get. Now we can go inside. Excuse me, pardon me. Squeeze me, coming by. Up, up. Okay. Now, I wonder... It seems like it's all sealed, but does anybody remember in the first game when we came here, there was like a hatch. A hatch on the side somewhere. At least I could have swore there was. But I suppose instead we kind of just gotta do this the ugly way. Here, we'll drop down here first. Okay. You're dark, I mean algae, you're what? You're what? Oh. Oh, they're rotten.
In the throne room. But a few days ago, she was spending all her time in that bleak little overseer chapel.
Elevator.
What's she working on?
She probably found it funny, using the chapel as a studio. Makes
Okay,
them
this was where we came in
preach their nonsense.
before.
Throne room when she was ready to start her new painting.
Thing is, this doesn't tell me I have like a main objective. Chapel.
Yes.
Then again.
This one is special. Delilah says it's going to change everything.
Wait, there's a.
The
Ah,
world
of course
and
there
all the
is.
spheres beyond.
Of course there fucking is. Of course it's in the middle of the room that feels like it'll start a boss fight or some crazy shit. There's two of them there. Wait. Did a quick save already.
Delilah's in the throne room. I can use the elevator to reach her.
Oh, I fucking knew it. Fucking knew it. Load. Right here. Okay. She can't hear. I'm sorry, Gerdane. I'm sorry, ads. Oh, we're still 4 minutes away from ads. Also, Berserk, thank you for doing your season pass. I don't think those things spawned in until I started like picking things up. I'm pretty sure. So, if we instead do time bend, it should be fine.
Delilah's in the throne room.
See if
I
there's
can use the
magic right
elevator
there.
to reach her.
Okay. I want to go check out. There's also a statue there of her. Ah, there's the skull. That's what it was. That's what was blending the magic. I just didn't see it. I'm pretty sure whenever they're in that skull form too, we can shoot them and they won't awaken, but we kind of got everything. So where's the heart again? We'll just mark that one for now. So, all right. Da-da-da-dum. What's wrong, Redane? How many times have you ignored the ad break playing this game? Enough. It's okay. I know there's 2.5 minutes. Oh, I did not see them over there. Ah. Aww.
It makes me furious seeing the tower like this.
Oh. That. Okay. And I already know that there's people in that side room. Anyway. Okay, 1.5 minutes. Go unheard. I will make them know that. Wait, what? That doesn't sound right. Ooh. We need to make it down to the chapel. Christ. Oh. Oh, there's the ruin. But... Oh.
I can't wait for the month of nets. Fresh picked is so much better than dried.
Okay. Also, why do these things look like they're like spontaneously moving on occasion? Like they're like kicking or something? I swear they are. Okay. So we have that ruin. I heard clanking. I don't like that.
Make a note. Remove display back.
Ah, there it is. All right, hold on. We're gonna pause it here because I don't see the warning anymore, and maybe it's already been a minute and a half. But I'm gonna give you all the words on stream. Also, Coco has actually been, in fact, been in here this whole time, and she's now at the door. What are you looking at? She's like looking at my closet for some reason. I'm kind of nervous now, but I will be back in a minute. See what's going on while Coco's whining, and I will give you all the music. So give me just a minute. And don't burn anything down, Ordain. Okie dokie. What'd I miss? Who died? All right, hold on. Hold on. I gotta check. I gotta make sure. I'm never allowed to have fun raging. You fucking goofball. It's me. I'm in your closet. I'm stealing your socks. Not my socks. Oh, I wear athletic socks most of the time. And then the one that Summerfall gave me, which are the sponsored socks that I have. Bleh. I went to eat some blueberries. I went to the grocery store today after the gym and I got a bunch of fruit. I got a big bag of oranges and some blueberries. Remember to eat your fruit, chat. Also, did I say thank you to Berserk 9 minutes ago for resubbing for 2 years? Oh, wait, no, it says you've been subscribed for 30 months, resub for 24 months at tier 1. Aw. Big number. Whoa, happy day. 30 balls. Christ. Blueberries. Yeah, blueberries. All right. Also, somebody just came home. Apparently, there's some tax shenanigans that they need to go contest. I have nothing if not diligent family that refuses to get fucked over by the tax man. Because the tax man will always overvalue your property so that you pay more in property taxes. Chat, did you know you can go contest that if you own a house? You should. You should go contest it. They will rip you off. They will rip you off. All right. Put you away. Cease the music. And let's go back to getting rid of this bitch. The thing is, real quick. Where's this robot? He just chilling? He do be just chilling. So... seems like there's something useful in there. Okay.
Runs through its veins, rendered from the fat of leviathans from the deep, icy waters.
Son of a
It has
bitch.
nothing to do with our mistress's magic. Not touched by the void at all. Could we make one of bones, I wonder? Like the grave hounds.
Delilah could, with Rihanna's help.
I'm having deja vu. I do remember this section, weirdly enough. I remember these two and worrying about this guy.
Yes. But Brianna's cut off from Delilah's magic now.
The question is, if I wait for him to go around the corner again,
We should make a man of bones to win her favor. With Jindosh's mind turned to mush, his clockwork toys won't last forever.
once he goes around the corner, I can get rid of those two, I'm pretty sure.
My knee feels better.
Idling. Commence lens refocus.
Okay. And then... here he is.
If this plays, let me... At this point, the clockwork is scouting.
Ooh. Okay.
The machine is still searching.
Nope. Flub that one. If I don't own a home, that's true. I think I just have to attack him. I tried to hit control, but I think I just have to normally attack him.
Search playback.
Okay. I don't think I can drop on it again, can I? Where'd it go? Hello? Oh, there it is. It did get lost. Okay. Okay. I feel like if I activate this, something's gonna go wrong? I don't know, though. I'm having deja vu for this one, too. I'm pretty sure something happens. If I activate the security, but I don't remember. We'll have to wait and see.
There, the power's back on. That should help.
There it is. I was right. Okay. I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure people come down once I turn the power on.
It's from the great leviathans of the deep.
She just teleported there.
Tampers with the dead metal things.
Dead metal things. Ah, fucked that one, dude. Fucked that one. I hate that. I was trying to inch off so that I could, Okay, it's just before I did it. That's fine. That's whatever. Oh, whoops. Damn it. Get back in there. It doesn't work that well when I try to, like, drop off of things.
There. The power's back on. That should help.
Okay. We'll just do it again. That's fine. And then we also have that Attermeyer solution that we can use, so I'm fine with just spending a whole bunch of mana to do this. Gotta say, way darker in tone and atmosphere compared to the Dunwall Tower in the first game. Very much so. I honestly don't know why they fucking, like, ruined the castle. It doesn't make any sense. In my mind, at least.
Dead metal things.
Question is, do I wait or do I just hit them with the one sleep dart I have left? I kind of want to save this one sleep dart. Not gonna lie. Because... Okay, hold on. Because I can do this instead. And then they're both out. Good talk. Good talk. Oh, right, the Attermeyer solution. Use one, give me that. We haven't really had to use, rewire kits that much. Also, everything's so fucking bright now when I have... He's just standing there menacingly. Okay, to the chapel then. Wait. Oh, it's one floor above me. See, they still move whenever, like, I come around corners and stuff. Hello? Hello? Quick save.
Why is there a tree in the middle of the chapel?
Although, bending the energies of the void was tricky, but I managed to corrupt ruins of bone from my great painting. Got all the ingredients ready in the chapel. Dried kelp and algae from the moats, flowers from the greenhouse, ground to dust and made into pigment. Human bones infused with the fluid of terror and regret. Mustering patience, I will continue painting until the final ruin is ready to affix the throne, my throne. But harmony must be maintained between the corrupt ruins and their pure counterparts. Two corrupt aligned with two of the purest. If this harmony is not observed, the magic of the painting could get twisted around and fail or even turn against me.
Delilah's working on something terrible, but I might be able to sabotage it. By crafting more corrupt runes, I could disrupt Delilah's painting.
It worked. I painted the chapel, but added a tree to the painting. After arranging the runes across the chair, both pure and corrupted, I was able to transpose the chapel made of paint with the one.
There we go.
Stone. With more runes.
Okay, this is the non-lethal path.
This will be my greatest undertaking. Transposing my
Okay.
painting. The world as it should be. With this
So-
wretched dung heap we're all born into. At last, all will be made proper and good.
Okay. Do it this way. Oh, no? No? Ah.
I plotted to steal your face, then your throne. You'll never know how close I came back then.
Okay. Oh, there's another fucking robot. Oh, but there's chandeliers up there. Okay, I can wait for it to path somewhere else. How Dad canonically dealt with Delilah at the end of DLC? Yes, pretty much. Seems to just be one of those situations that's like, all right, guys, we'll just trap her in the void again.
The machine is recharging the magnetic coil.
Okay.
Increasing oil tank temperature.
Which is down there. Okay, so I think we kind of have to go to the elevator. We'll mark that for now. And then we're just kind of gonna do... Wow, it really does get like a lot brighter in here with the lights on. Christ.
Someone's burning whale oil again.
Yes, Pepperjack?
Stinking alive.
What up, gamers? What is up, gamers? Pretty much how Delilah style, I presume. Which part?
Playback indicates some detection without certainty.
How many days until the next red moon? Let's see. It was 6? 3?
Smoking inside the building? God, y'all can't even maintain a fucking palace. Y'all are insane. Okay, I did a quick save. I'm gonna do another one just to be sure, because I think I did. Oh, what the fuck? Did it see me or did it smell me? Thing is, I kind of want to drop down on her. I don't know if it's too close. We'll do it. We'll do it regardless. Okay. Quick save. No. You're shitting me. You're shitting me. Actually, it seems they know something's wrong. They just don't know where I am. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Yeah, they just smelled me. So that's fine. Well, the other thing that's not fine, though, is the fact that the other chandelier is gone. Oh, wait a second. What are you? Oh. Hello. Are those the sound of my own feet?
1,000 rotations.
Oh, it's them pacing back and forth. Okay. There we go. Give me that shit. High and Mighty Overseer himself was here when Delilah took the throne. The look on his face as she vanquished Emily the Falls and her Serkonan father will forever keep a candle flame flickering in my heart. Watching him beat a frantic retreat, knowing he'd return with others of his bloviating sect, knowing they would fall before us, it was delicious. The tower is ours now. Dunwall and Karnaka are ours. Soon to the oracular sisters, and when my mistress finishes her painting, we'll own all the empire. I also could have swore that there was an oracular sister mission at one point. But maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe it's a DLC from Dowd that I forgot. Because I could have swore at one point I remember dealing with the sisters.
If this plays, the machine is recharging the magnetic coil.
Thing is, there's a dog out there, so do this.
entry, dear.
All right, then we're gonna listen to that for a second.
It's an audio.
Death of the Outsider? Okay, that's what it was. That's what it was. Because I'm pretty sure I remember going, was it the museum?
A prince's order for war, a matron's business instructions, or a lover's hungry words dripping with honey. Even
I don't
the
remember
final
for sure.
thoughts of one lost in despair before jumping from a bridge.
Are we doing that next? We've done it before. I don't know if I'm gonna do it again. Because of how impossible it felt to do the like last mission. Okay, hold on. We need to get back to the chandelier. Yoink. Fuck you, dude. Okay. Question is, to get to that other chandelier, get past these guys, can I just... do this? And it seems. And let me double check. Stats. Okay. That works, because we have so many crossbow bolts. Just wait for him to turn around. Gonna need a new Murder Monday game again? That's true. Okay. Now we're safe. Relatively. Relatively safe. Okay, that's the room we came out of. Hello. Wow, they really just kind of came in here. Turned it into a fucking sty like they did with the museum, and then loitered about, I guess. And turned the balcony into the fucking bathroom? Are you serious? Is this a girl failure cult? What is this? What is this nightmare? Fuck off. Okay, so it looks like we can't actually get to the elevator at this end. Oh, of course. They're now wandering around here. All right, we're gonna quick save, because what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try to time jump and do this. Then do that. I'm fine with spending a little extra mana right now because we have an abundance. Not nearly close enough.
That's better. The fresh air really helped. And
Nope.
I can't undo the flowers.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Wait. Hold on, what was that? Did y'all see that? I swore she looked like she had like black ooze all over her face. There it is. I think that's a graphic error. I think that's a graphic glitch. I'm not 100% sure on that. That didn't work. That didn't work. Okay. That's fine. Instead of just jumping to the chandelier, I should not do it that way. Actually, I think I should still jump to the chandelier. Whew!
just jealous. If I want to dance, then I can twirl around all I want. Just try and stop me.
Her favorite when she sees her a bit of a cat foot
Okay.
from a drowned man's leg.
The elevator's behind us. Actually, technically, it's not. Well, now it's behind us. It's like, I can get to it there. So... Oh, that's probably why I couldn't do it earlier, because the power wasn't on.
Wasn't mud. I don't care what anybody says. I know mud, and that wasn't it.
Give me that. Give me that. What do we got? Following the Abbey's pathetic assault, I want the power shut off in the security room, and I want this rickety old contraption locked. No more supplicants from the city riding up to beg for my graces. Come to my throne room only if your need is dire. Woe be anyone from outside the coven who disturbs me while I'm painting. Overseers were probably the last of your significant enemies, and now they're beaten. I trust you can handle anyone else.
With the power on, I can take the elevator to the throne room.
The fuck was that sound? There's something in the elevator. Oh! It's not in, it's on. Oh, you're fucking joking. Something just alerted. I don't know what it was.
It was coming from here. Let's see.
Okay. Okay, I don't think I dare just take the elevator all the way up.
Something's off. Pretty sure of it.
You pretty sure? The hell? Oh, she's stuck. Oh no.
I didn't imagine that. Nothing then.
Excuse me, I'm just gonna... Oh. Okay then. She had just heard her report back. Yeah, we're gonna do this the annoying way. Somebody's out cold. Because... Is it it's this one? Wink. Is this throne room gonna be in, like... Is it gonna be on the... Oh, it is the rooftop. Of course, it's the fucking rooftop. Hi, Kono. 22 months, currently on 22-month streak. Well, thank you, Kono. How are you doing? Okay. The fact that we, like, spawn in... Oh, fuck. That was really janky. What is that glowing over there? Oh, that's Delilah herself. Bitch? Witch? Okay. The thing is, I wonder... Ooh, furnace. Thing is... What I was wondering was... if there was an alternate way in. Because in the first game, these aren't like stained glass windows like they are now. They're like those shutter windows, and one of them was open. I literally does not seem to be anyone else here. I'm nosy. Ah, we missed a bone charm. That's fine. Aha.
done to my throne?
Now... Oh, I see. I see. All right, hold on. Now, if I remember correctly...
I conquered an empire of cowards, liars, and simpletons.
I'm pretty sure I can just
Word is you've had a change of heart.
sneak over here. Oh my god, wait. No, we didn't get raided. That's just the Kofi pick. I'm doing fine. Want to support the friend? Oh, hell yeah. Missed Bones. It's fine. Hi, Livid. How are you doing?
Hidden somewhere.
Okay. I think what I can do here... There it is. I can just attach this extra bone.
Even being an empress in this world disappoints
Now...
me. But once my great painting is finished,
I'm pretty sure... I'm gonna double check. We're gonna save here. Save, says me. Because we haven't done a hard save yet. I think if we try to, like, jump on her right now... Also, there's a book there. I kind of want that book. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Hi, VTuber. How are you doing? I'm pretty sure if I jump on her, it, like, it cancels out. Like, she counters me or something. I don't remember for sure. Let's try it. Gotcha, bitch. No? No? Was that not it? Yeah, we gotta go back. We gotta go back. Yes. Okay. So... that didn't work. Maybe there's something else I gotta trigger? So we put the corrupted ruin in. Can I just... Here, let's do another quick save here. I'm just gonna hit her with the sleep dart and see what happens.
such a tragedy.
Where are you? Don't be afraid.
Okay.
Come on, don't be shy.
I swear there's something else I'm supposed to do. I don't know if I'm supposed to interact with the painting. Keep walking. Why the fuck did her eyes just do that? Did y'all see that? The POV just moved in a circle, but her head didn't move. The fucking cone of sight when like pull the 360, but her head didn't move. Okay, let's see.
Somewhere out there,
Nope.
Jessamyn's pampered brat is working against me.
Luca, my love. Word is you've had a change of heart, or your mind is broken. Perhaps I was too much for you.
Luca?
The Empire came apart like parchment in the rain. This city is beneath my scorn. Its people fickle and disloyal.
Okay. Gamers never look up. All she wanted to do was paint a painting. A painting to take over the fucking world. Okay, I'm missing something. What do I need to do? See how that other corrupted ruin is glowing? Maybe I'm supposed to interact with it or something?
Hidden somewhere.
Did you say look up? No. Hold on a second. Let me see. No? What is the button again to J? Mission clues. Making her vulnerable. Okay. Workshop. Entrance. Combine those. We did that. Okay then. Do I just need to like take out the heart?
No one loves you as I do. Without me, you cannot kill her. With me, she will tear you to bits.
I have an idea. Let's go back. Hi, Nomad. How are you doing? So, she's unaware. We've already placed the ruin. So what if... Can I, like, sneak up behind her? Okay. That makes sense. So, how do I use the heart on her? Because, see, if I, like, pull out the heart, she does, like, all this glowing stuff. But... I'm good. How are you? It's nice to see you in the new bits. Hell yeah, thank you. From here, what the fuck? Twitch is always mean like that. But...
Who else has ever escaped the void itself?
The thing is, until we disturb her, she doesn't really turn around. And I can't do anything with Corvo.
Somewhere out there, Jessamine's pampered brat is working against me. Such a tragedy.
Okay. I don't know, like, if I'm supposed to stab her or what I'm supposed to do. Okay, hold on a second. We need to figure this out. Let me see. Whoops. Dishonored to... What is this? Not Grand Palace. We did the Grand Palace before. I'm gonna stab her? We could stab her, but it doesn't seem to work. We're missing something with the heart, and I don't understand what it wants us to do. Are you behaving as a magpie and stealing again? Always stealing. Always taken to shiny bits. Bits and bobs. What is this? This is Caldwell. Caldwell Tower. Non-lethal. Return to the tower. Non-lethal solution. Okay, no, this is the first mission. Let me see. Let's put in Delilah. Delilah, non-lethal. Ghost. There's a specific option for ghost. Okay, oh god, am I gonna have to go look at fucking Reddit? Okay, we're missing something. How do we go into the painting? Okay, we're missing something. A hot cocoa and a baguette? It is too hot for hot cocoa. Death to the Empress, non-lethal? Okay. That's what this one's called. Gotcha. Death to the Empress, non-lethal. Okay, hold on. There's the IGN, as unfortunate as it is. So... because we're missing something. I remember that there's like the in-painting fight. Okay, find the chapel, restore power. Get to the throne room. That's easy. Rooftop. Non-lethal elimination. Corrupt Delilah's throne. Don't follow through the painting just yet. Instead, head up to the throne and place the corrupt ruin on it. Head up the throne room to re-explore every room. Okay. Mm. Okay, that's fine. I missed an opportunity for an achievement, but I don't think I care for that. So... Okay, do we need to make ourselves known to her? I think that's what we have to do. I think we can't, like, attack her or anything. Mm. Wait, this doesn't feel right. Where Ramsey's greed got him? Oh, the safe room where we left Ramsey. Okay. This thing literally just skips. Waits inside, but if you've talked to her statue here, she'll have summoned 2 gravehounds in anticipation. If not, she'll be consumed in her painting work, sneak up behind her, and or snipe the gravehounds if they're there, before equipping the heart and using it on her. Okay. Okay, maybe it just didn't work? All right, let's try this instead. Okay, maybe we just need to get really close. And then just, like, right here. There it is.
My spirit returns.
Yes.
To the canvas, and I will show you my vision.
Okay. More shiny light, more shiny light. I don't have control. Goodbye, heart. Okay. Now the thing is, apparently there is.
What she dreams about.
Render Delilah unconscious. Okay. Thing is, if I remember right, there's something weird in here. I'm pretty sure. Huh? Where did you come from? Maybe she was there and I just didn't notice. Because I know there's a bunch of clones. Yeah, there she is. It's the statue. See? Ah. There she is. No? Okay, I think I know what I need to do for this. But... So see, it keeps like changing. I think it's because, if I remember correctly, there's going to be a bunch of clones here. What I'm going to do, though, is she can stay there. Right now it's a statue. So what I'm going to do, I don't want to use that sleep dart. I'm going to do that. They didn't trigger. Oh, yes, they did. Fucking goofy. But I don't think I'm nearly close enough. What if I... Okay, there's no statue there. I think I glitched it, chat.
Come out.
No. Who just triggered? Who just triggered?
Wherever you are.
Someone triggered, I'm pretty sure. No, nobody did. Do I dare risk it? Do I dare risk it? I dare. Ah, there's the other one. You know what? That's actually better. Oh, hi! Well, that didn't work. Damn. Shut up. Okay, but what about these other ones?
Why shouldn't my people love their empress?
Oh, I remember now. Okay, hold on. We need to go back here. Oh god, lag! And then, back here. Now, if I remember right, Bitch McGee is actually up here. Now, if you're doing a non-ghost run, you can just kill all the replicas and she comes out. Instead, though, she's right fucking here. What's up, bitch?
If I put Delilah on the throne, the painting should trap her in her own fantasy world.
Okay. That's what I forgot. Back then, I watched a lot of games. This game is really fucking fun. I think this is one of the best games of like the last decade. I think it's weird how in this game though, a lot of the non-lethal options are literally choke out target. Okay, not this one. We gotta go to the other one. It's like choke out target and then go place them somewhere. Just go place them somewhere else for some other scheme. Okay.
You wanted to rule a world of your own, Delilah. So be it.
And we just put her here. You know, I'm not gonna lie, maybe we did do this on the first time we played this game on stream. Is that it? Hand on Corvo's shoulder.
At last, what I've always deserved.
She wakes up and just like, yeah, this'll work.
Now, what's always been marred and distorted will be perfect. I've waited so long. Sing my songs and lick my flesh.
Ooh. Ooh. Ma'am, have you considered just turning your coven into, you know, like a lesbian coven or something? I think that would have been better than saying lick my flesh. Hi, Corvo.
Emily, what happened?
Let's sit down. I'll explain.
I wonder what happened to the other witches. Her coven is already definitely that. Finish a game without being spotted. Shadow achievement unlocked. Let's fucking go. Rackle frackle. Someday I'll have to come back and do the also hi mommy ASMR listener, welcome in. Oh, complete the game in low chaos. Nice. All right, I want to know what the low chaos ending for this game is.
The time of crisis in Karnaca came to an end, with the city's wisest citizens unscathed.
Oh, that's Jindosh and
led by its new council,
somebody else. I don't recognize her.
Was pulled back from the brink of anarchy, and Circonus began to thrive.
Oh, it's the lady who helped the witch, who helped the coven.
In Dunwall, without ever realizing it, Delilah passed into an imagined world where her father's promises were fulfilled and her subjects would love her forever. As she sailed the ocean with a great fleet and trekked
without even realizing it, that's hilarious.
While in the true capital, Emily the Just, Emily the Clever, ruled for decades over a prosperous, mended empire.
Aw, thank you, narrator outsider.
In his day, Anton Sokolov fired the engines of industry, hurtling the empire into.
But we just do that with everyone? What do you mean? Put them in a painting?
He dallied with nobles, wayward artists, and great inventors alike, drinking in all that life could offer. Leaving Dunwall for the last time, he headed to the cold north. Contented at last on a final voyage to take him home. There are things that never change, no matter how hard you try. Questions you must answer.
Is that Dowd? Is that Dowd's silhouette?
As Megan Foster faded from the world, Billy Lurk stepped from her shadow, setting out to discover her truest self, and seeking the closest thing she'd ever known to family.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's Dowd. She suffered from mega narcissism? True. There's a couple endings where Corvo becomes Emperor, becomes Duke of Zirconos. Really? That's probably though if you kill the original Duke, isn't it? I've honestly never played Dishonored 2 as Corvo. I've played through Dishonored 2 twice. And also High Flow. And also have never done it as Corvo. This was a new game plus technically, so I had like all of Corvo's powers, which was actually really fun because I like blink a little more than the Reach. Kill the Duke and his body double. Gotcha.
Sweet Zirconos, did we bathe in the sun, sharing grapes from
I don't know why, but this song reminds me of Voltaire for some reason. Corvo run should be next playthrough. We may do a Corvo run at some point. Maybe. There may be another day where I have like massive urge to play Dishonored again. Hey, listen, if they ever release another Dishonored, I will play through every Dishonored game just so my community understands like the story up till this point. And we will do the canon runs, which means if we're doing the canon runs, we have to do low chaos. Fuck. The next time we'll end up picking Emily again. I don't think there's much of a reason for us to pick Emily again now that we've done like a ghost chaos and low chaos and high chaos as Emily, so
Now we cower in the alleys of
Alright guys, time to play Cyberpunk again. I wish they could make a Dishonored animated series in the style of Arcane Netflix show. That would be awesome. Anything's possible. Technically true. Also, the people here with the like almost black with the almost what is it? Xbox gamer tag style names, nicknames or something. Cyberpunk low chaos. Oh. Actually, you make a point. I don't think we ever done a stealth. Have we ever done a stealth playthrough of Cyberpunk? In the owner of the red Ford F-150, your car exploded, and I stole your special medal. Oh no. Alright, I don't think we need to keep listening to this. Can I? Okay, we can't skip it. Alright. We done did it. Chat, we done did it. We have beat one of the greatest games ever. Again. Why do I do this to myself? Alright. Alright. Not watching the full credits? It's fine. It's fine. Also, apparently only 7% of people that play Dishonored get the Shadow gameplay, the Shadow achievement. 24% low chaos. That's actually really low. Only a quarter of players that play Dishonored 2 get that achievement. That's actually kind of impressive. All right, but it's also a little early. Baird in the top 7%. Listen, I'm in the top, what do you call it? I'm in the top, we're actually gonna snooze you. Snooze, damn you. Also, hold on a second. Okay. Oakley tokeling. Oakley tokeling. All right, chat. I was gonna say, speaking of top percents, do we actually want to know? Do we actually want to know what percent this channel is? I mean, we can go look. We can go look and see. Because I think at this point we're partner pushing. Legitimately, I don't think I'm gonna make any like crazy posts or start like putting it in the title or anything. But we're basically at the mark. Wait, you live in Norway? No, I'm moving to Norway. I am moving to Norway. But let me see here. What is our percentage on Twitch? We're in the, oh my God. We're in the top 0.5% of Twitch. We are a 0.5%er on Twitch is always, but just more pushing. The thing is we've hit the point. We've unlocked it. We just like today we're definitely not going to meet the requirements. And that shit happens. But I'm probably going to make an announcement in the Discord and everything. And I really want to try to get y'all like pumped up for it. And maybe we could like start doing some special stuff for it. Right now I can't do a whole lot because I can't like buy new physical stuff. Like, I don't know, like a shock collar or anything to do shit like that right now. Mainly because I don't have any money. Besides stuff that's already been saved for the trip move into Norway. Yeah. Pump the partner into the push. It's time to go start yelling at your friends and everybody in Discord. You gotta chat. It's time to start getting everybody active. We have, what is it? We have 8,559 followers on here, and we don't even need like 1% of that. We don't even need 1% of y'all to show up. Well, actually 1% would basically do it if y'all showed up for every stream. But if we could get more people to come in and come back. And I also know there's like 600 something of y'all in the Discord. We only need 1/6 of that. But, I think that's going to be it for today, chat. I need to go set something up with a DM. Soon, TM. But I think that's going to be it for today. I will probably make a post in the Discord just after stream in like a minute or two after stream ends. I'm going to go grab a picture of the thing so that I can post it for y'all. Time for the new quota drop. How many referrals you get? Enough referrals. You may totally really and not 100% click get something or other in return. Well, I want to give y'all something on stream that's like entertaining and fun. I think tomorrow towards like probably sometime during the first hour of stream chat, I think we're going to redo our punishment wheel. And we'll change and like add some extra stuff to it to make it a little more enticing for y'all. Because I know after every so often the it can get a little boring with like a bunch of the same stuff on it. So we'll do some rearranging. Maybe we'll add more things. Maybe we'll remove some. I don't know just yet. They're changing the wheel. We're going to do it together, chat. We're going to do it together. I promise. I promise. I just want to make it more, or we'll make an entirely new punishment wheel. We can make an entirely new one, specifically for the $10 donations, and we'll keep one for the channel points and one for the donations, and we can do it that way. The government doesn't want to punish anymore. What do you mean? The government doesn't want to punish anymore. What does that mean? Enough referrals. You may totally really not 100% clickbait, get something returned. Why does that just sound like MLM pitching? Also, just plays Nomad. I'm sorry if I don't think I said thank you for the follow, but thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. A number go up, number go burr. But. I don't know. We've already hit the 3-hour mark. I was slightly late with today's stream. And I really don't have... Going from chatting to stream to chatting is something I don't like doing that often. Also, you're saying the government doesn't want to punish anymore? Points at Luigi Mangione trial. Doesn't want to punish my ass. Gotta get into commercial marketing mode for the carnival? Come on, come on! Do I need to do like a Barker style fucking advertisement announcement? The carnival's coming to town, just short of its biggest partner step ever. On down the road. All right. We gotta get you a pulpit? A pulpit? Christ. What are we going to do with the pulpit? Are we building a church? I don't think I'll ever have like a church or like a nun outfit that isn't just like art. I'll probably never have it for stream. Especially because they think confession streams are cringe. A cult will get you a viewership. Never mind. You make an excellent. It's just like Mage. No! Hi, Anna. A cult will get you viewership. Ah, yes, viewership. Quintessence. Excellent. Excellent. Paint eyes on it? Paint eyes on what? Paint eyes on what? Hi, Flo. I said hi to you earlier. Confess to the crimes you've been bragging about the whole time. No idea what you're talking about. Tax fraud is an obligation. Tax fraud is a felony. It's an obligation. Tasty viewership. Oh, I think I missed it. That's okay. It was shortly after I saw you pop in. You may have like muted or like walked away for a second or something. The pulpit. The pulpit is for paint eyes on it. Why would we paint eyes on the pulpit? I don't think that's nearly as fun. It happens. It happens. But okay. Do not the peep it. Do not the peep it. Is the pulpit be peeping? Is that what you're saying? Jeepers, creepers. Where'd you get those peepers? I'm still thinking of the Barker thing. Come one, come all. Step foot in a realm of horrors. Make sure you wear your brown pants. You never know what lurks around every corner. Where did you get those peepers? I grew them myself. Hey, VOD Watcher, please come to the live show. We're no longer asking. Yes, please, VOD Watchers. Almost 1,000 of you that watches the VODs. Please come to the live show. It'd greatly be appreciated. Even if just a small part of y'all did. If you can't hang out and chat, it'd also be wonderful. You could also leave the stream open. Listen to you who works the 8 to 5 shift. If you open the stream in the morning and just leave it on the channel, it'll start playing on its own. And you'll count as lurking in the channel. Pristine. I love you guys. Every single one of you. FYI, this is a joke. I ain't threatening y'all. Ain't real threaten. Ain't real threaten. No real threaten in here, goons. Ain't no real threaten in here. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? We're all friends here. We're all just talking it out. Talking it out, don't you know? Right, my goons? Not always, but most of the time. And then there's Ordain. Ordain is actually threatening you. I recommend doing what he says. Okay. All right, chat. I think that's going to be it. I think it's going to be it for all the news. We're done with this Dishonored. I do have a bunch of other spooky games that we'll be playing. I have like Condemned Criminal Origins for more Retro Circus. I do actually still owe the devs a stream of Necrophosis, which is like a H.R. Geiger style horror game. Supposedly like a better Scorn, maybe. Oddly, switching computers made Twitch start streams without a refresh far less. It's so strange. Oh yeah. Hey, listen, if some of them connect, A+, baby. A+. It may not work 100% of the time, but some of y'all will be here for stream and be able to lurk. But I've had Shadow Man Remastered downloaded for the longest time, but I still don't know if it really interests me. TeamSpeak Connect VOD Watchers. TeamSpeak! It's really funny how I'm just here and everyone just accepts the amount of stuff I say / do. It's very funny. It's very funny. I'm not gonna lie. But I still don't know if we're gonna come back to Clair Obscur, you guys. It's interesting. It seems fun, but at the same time, I feel like I get frustrated with it more than anything. I don't know yet. We may come back to it. We may come back to it for Mondays. For Mondays. But like I said, that is going to be it for today. So I already know who we're going to raid because she raided me like 2 or 3 times last week. We're raiding the green creature. I did think it started with this. That's true. It did in fact start with the fucking pog knife. All right, chat. We need a raid message. We need a raid message. I have an idea. I just feel like doing one goofy, so we're going to do the brick emote, and it's going to be Think Fast, Chuckle Fuck. Actually, we'll just do Chuckles, because I don't think may not let us swear for a raid message. So we'll just do Think Fast. Think Fast, Chuckles. No. Think fast. Think fast. If you don't have my brick emote and you have somebody else's, feel free to use it. If you don't have it, if you don't have any brick emote, feel free to use like any other like chaos emote or something you have, guys. We'll be back tomorrow, noon CDT. If you aren't already in the Discord, I highly recommend joining it. We're going to be doing movie night later this week. We're going to start watching the original Exorcist movies. Yes, Exorcist movies. The Warren ones. The ones that are literally just Catholic and Ed and Lorraine Warren propaganda. Those are the ones we're going to watch. The whole series. But until then, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for joining the show. Good night. Go give Sai some love.